Introducing The Fiber, brought to you by Live Oak Fiber. This open forum is meant to inspire, empower, and set the record straight for consumers and better broadband enthusiasts alike. Good morning. Thank you for tuning into The Fiber. I'm Kimber McCafferty, your host. I'm with Live Oak Fiber, and we like to get on here and bring in members of the community, fibers of the community, if you will. It's kind of our out-of-the-box thinking when it comes to getting on here and talking to people all the time, like, why did we want to do this? So I am joined by Tiffany Orner.
Yes.
We're over in the Panhandle today. If you tune in, we have studios over in Brunswick where we're headquartered, and then over here as well in Niceville, Florida today. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself. You have such a neat dynamic approach to the way that you do work, and you get to do it in the name of advocacy.
Yes.
That just tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, what this area means to you.
Yeah. So I am Tiffany Orner. Third-generation military, second-generation female Air Force veteran, two-time military spouse, and I am the military engagement manager for Forever Warriors. Forever Warriors is a private foundation founded and funded by Step One Automotive Group. Step One Automotive Group is an automotive company that has over 20 dealerships, mostly in the Panhandle, but also in Georgia and Alabama as well. So Forever Warriors, our pillars are mental health, transition sustainment, and community immersion. I'm not here to rework the wheel. Lord knows there are so many different resources and VSOs, veteran service organizations, military service organizations, or MSOs, and for the military. Instead, I'm here to add value to them. I'm a private foundation, which means I don't have to ask for money, thankfully, right? I have a funder, which is Step One, which I am forever grateful. And so advocacy. I hypnotically drifted. Napoleon Hill calls it. I read a lot of books. Like, I don't watch TV except for like Bluey and like National Geographic because I have a 7-year-old. But I hypnotically drifted after my service for a long time, from like 2004 to 2018. Had so many jobs, over 15. Can't even like count them all. And then in 2018, I found my way. I got to work alongside veterans out of upstate New York, where I came from, transplant. And it was amazing. For the first time in a long time, I felt a part of something. I felt needed. I felt a part of something so much bigger than myself again, like I did when I served. So having the opportunity to do this here, I'm just so thankful and grateful.
When you say you found your calling, because we kind of talked about that as we segued into the show today, why is this your why? How does this fuel your passion and purpose? And when you say, through your military advocacy, how are you changing the communities in which you serve?
Yes. So I had a really tough time both during and after my service. And then me and my ex-husband, we got out of the active duty Air Force and we moved to upstate New York. There, no one cared if you served, right? Like most, people only care if you're military, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, which isn't even for us, and then 4th of July, if they're not too wasted. I mean, that's just what it is. And when I had the opportunity to, it was just really tough. And when I finally, it was J-Dog. J-Dog Junk Removal is a franchise. It's founded by Jerry J-Dog Flanagan, Army veteran, and it's a junk removal service. So I got hired on as a business development manager. I didn't even know what that was. So they brought me on, and the J-Doggers were our vets. They were all veterans. One of them was a Purple Heart recipient. And he was like, yeah, we got to get more work for these guys. Because at the time, all they did was residential, meaning clean outs, hoarding situations. You're moving, you need all the junk gone. That's what they did. So Ray Gagnon, Marine, still in upstate New York, gave me like 17 different verticals. So 17 different industries in which he thought J-Dog could add value. Everything from senior living to storage facilities to colleges, universities, 17 different. And I'm like, what is this even? And so I went through all of them and I said, what's always happening? And it was construction. Construction's always happening. And I was like, too easy. So I threw myself into the construction industry in upstate New York, joined all kinds of like NESCA, Northeastern Subcontractors Association, like a female contractor group, like just went all in. I knew nothing about it, but I knew that what I had to do was secure work to make sure these J-Doggers, my fellow brothers that were, some of them still serving, but most of them veterans, had a paycheck, didn't get laid off, had work to do. So I did that, and I grew it. In 60 days, we went from about $30,000 to $40,000 per month in revenue and construction to over $200,000. We pretty much crippled the hiring agencies in upstate New York.
And if you don't mind, when you say you struggled and then you're helping bridge the gap for those that do struggle, was that kind of when you had your moment? And do you mind shedding a little light into how you did struggle for people?
Yeah, so that was it. So that was exactly it. Once I figured out that J-Dog, it wasn't about me anymore, right? It was about how can I add value to these people that deserve it, because I didn't feel like I deserved it. So I struggled because we were poor, right? Me and my ex-husband, we did the military thing. You get married young, you have babies young, and you just kind of go through the motions. America's military is very different back then. I raised my right hand 1 August 2001. So I was in boot camp when 9/11 happened. And the military for me back then was very military, head and eyes down. You know, yes, and it is still kind of, right, to an extent, but mental health plays a huge role now, which forever I'm thankful. But back then it was very, like, rigid and structured. So when we got out, and even when we were in, we just struggled financially. I was that airman in the commissary with the big old WIC checks, standing in front of peanut butter, feeling shame because I had to get the government peanut butter because that's all this check allowed. Back then, Kimber, there was no Freedom's Choice. That's the name brand for, like, the military now. Back then, it was, like, government. Like, you knew. And I felt shame, which was so silly because all my friends were poor, too. Like, they had the same, you know, but it's these little things that, like, chip away at you. Then when we got out, like I said, we struggled. I was uneducated. I tried going back to school. It's called Harvard on the Hudson or Hudson Valley Community College. I tried a couple times. It didn't feel good enough. And I felt silly. Here I was, and I was in this class with all these young kids, and I was being spoken to as if I was a child, right? So that didn't really work. And then the GI Bill, I guess I did it wrong, and that didn't really kick in. So financially, that was a struggle. So I was that mama going to pick up her babies at the daycare on the school campus, hoping the director's door was closed because I hadn't paid for weeks, even a couple months. I think one time it got to like almost 2.5 months. And I remember because you have to do it on the computer. And I remember like you'd have to, you know, do the code to get in. And then as soon as you turn the corner, you could see if her door was open. And I would like pray that her door would be closed. I would look for her car because I knew I couldn't afford to pay it, you know? And I've had so many jobs. But what I realize now is like God, the universe, whatever you believe in, He gave me those to be able to speak to them now, right?
So what is a day in the life of Tiffany Orner like today? What do you get to do with all of your advocacy that does bring about change in the communities in which you serve?
So what I do, I get up every day at 0400. So 4 o'clock, I get up and I write out my goals. I write out you know, open mind, big dreams, wild heart. Anyway, I write them all out and what success looks like. I read The Daily Stoic, which is an amazing book. Every day you just kind of read one. I read The World's Greatest Salesman every day. The Scrolls, if you've read that book, you know, there's those 10 scrolls. So you read that. And then, you know, I switch off. Every other day I'll go to the garage and like work out. But other than that, I hit my emails. And then I get to it. In the mornings, I like to try and handle all of my admin communication if time allows, and then in the afternoon I like to run the streets. I like to be out and about engaging, and it varies whether it's speaking to senior leadership on one of the military installations, Duke, you know, Eglin, Hurlburt, 6 RTB, the Ranger Training Battalion, or maybe I'm at the Airman's Attic helping out, or maybe I'm speaking to a school and their military babies and letting them know it's okay to have big, angry feelings about mom or dad.
When you speak, are you telling your story, or are you also educating about this gap of what happens when you are no longer enlisted or life changes on the other side of what your duty may be? What are you talking about?
So if I'm talking to our military babies, I'm just telling them, like, hey, man.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's really tough. And guess what? I was a military baby. I don't know if you remember TWA, that airline?
Yeah.
That's what I flew because my mama was a single mom.
I think it was out of Kansas City, right?
Yeah.
Was that a Howard Hughes airline?
I don't remember. But I remember being TWA with the unaccompanied minors. Anytime my mom deployed or had to go away for training, we'd all say, so I explained to them that it's okay to have big, angry feelings about mom or dad leaving all the time, but these are your people. These are your people that you need to play with or just be around. If they're older kids, I target it more towards, obviously, older conversation.
So motivational.
Yeah, but I'm not a motivational speaker. Like, no, it's just letting them know it's okay. And last year at Rocky, I got to pull our first grade military babies and do fun things with them. I would get food from a veteran-owned business, JoJo's, right? And one time we painted rocks. We do foot races. I got the Rangers to bring their snakes because the Ranger Training Battalion here, it's their final phase of Ranger School, and it's their swamp phase. So they have all these snakes. It's actually the DOD's only reptile house that's owned by the DOD.
Really?
Yes, here.
Okay,
yes,
fun.
Girl, we got to go on a field trip.
Yeah, that's fun.
And so they bring the snakes, and these babies, these kids get to just hang out. And, I'm no psychologist. I never went to college, but maybe if Kimber's having a rough day one day because, her dad's gone, and she knows that Tiffany's dad just got back or he's gone too, maybe we'll parallel play. Maybe we'll just be near each other that day, and it's just that. It's just that.
And companies within the community support this.
Yes.
They understand the need of your advocacy. Can you link it all here for me? Parade Deck, your COO, and then you've got Scarlet Magazine, Forever Warriors, which we've kind of brought up. Yeah. How does this kind of all work together?
Boy. Yeah. So Parade Deck is a startup. It's an opportunity for the military voice to be amplified.
Okay.
We have podcasters of all calibers, whether you have 1 follower or 1 million. You're welcome on the Parade Deck. And it's stood up in love, authenticity, and we just want to hear your story because your story deserves to be heard. So we have active duty, we have reservists, we have guardsmen, we have military spouses and veterans all over the world just sharing their story there. So that's Parade Deck. It's a startup. We're going to set that off to the side.
That's okay.
It's amazing. Yeah. No, it's great. But, we're just trying to figure that out. And I love that because, again, I wish I had someone to look to that had been through some of the stuff I was going through when I struggled. So that's why that means so much to me.
Yeah.
It's having your mastermind group from all over the world.
Yeah.
Going through it with you. And then when we talk about Scarlet Magazine, Steve Barber is amazing. He is the publisher of Scarlet, and he's great. I came here Q4 of 2022, and I met with him. And I said, hey, your magazine's really dope, but there's no female
perspective.
Well,
narrative.
it's an all-female magazine. I said, there's no female military voice. I said, bro, can I be that voice? And he was like, yes. It was so dope because he felt my heart, right? Like, let's talk about that. The Panhandle is the largest population of military per capita in the United States without public transportation. And I don't think people realize that. So to have a beautiful magazine, like Scarlet, like, can I be the one? And he said yes. So he featured me last year, and every issue I write a column that speaks to whatever topic that issue is, whether it's health or celebration. I did one on celebrating, whatever that looks like, that's what we speak to. And that's what my article is. So we got some fun stuff planned for 2024. And he went and gave me a WOTY, a Woman of the Year award. And
I love it.
I don't know. What you'll notice about me, I try to get out of stuff. Whenever I get awards, I always try to say, not me, give it to someone else. Because he gave me the Military Member Award. And I'm like, Steve, I served so long ago. He was like, Tiffany, with what you do, you're getting this award. And I was like, okay. Yes,
That's
sir.
nice, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, say for the more civilian side of the communities that live here that may not understand why the need for your advocacy is so detrimental? What are some of the things that you could apprise us to as a community for people that want to help the military and advocate for the things that they need?
Yeah, so I think it's really important to, and so I'm the chairman of the Fort Walton Beach Chamber Military Affairs Council this year, which is super exciting. It's not hard. It's simple, but it could be difficult. So I think that we need to stop saying so much thank you for your service and really have real conversations with your neighbors that are serving. See how you can actually help. What are some of the needs? They're out there. Like, and we're not some sleepy military town. We're active. We're so active. Like, for instance, Whiting Field, NAS, Naval Air Station Whiting Field, they have just as much air traffic as LaGuardia in New York
Wow.
City. Yeah. So like so many of us, but if like how do you get in, right? So I am the chairman of the MAC for Walton Beach Chamber. We're gonna go on field trips. We're going to have those uncomfortable conversations. We're going to talk with the first sergeants of these military installations, well, Eglin and Hurlburt, and they're like the moms and dads of the military. They're like the social workers that deal with all the stuff when stuff goes wrong. I'm going to invite some guests that will be able to tell you, like, hey, this is how you can help. But like a quick call to action, Airman's Attic. Airman's Attic is on Eglin and Hurlburt, open to any and all military branches, E6 and below. That's how I furnished our house on base and off base when I served. They have everything and it's all free. From uniforms to food to clothing for those babies to gifts for the babies, perfume, cologne, anything junior enlisted could ever need is there. So maybe you go through your house and see some clothes that you don't need or some items that you're no longer using, donate it there.
Okay.
That's just one of the many ways. I'm also working with Kelly Jason from the Emerald Coast United Way, and we're standing up a Mission United, which is the United Way's arm for military. Because again, when I got here in Q4, I went straight to the United Way. I just knew there was a Mission United here. There wasn't. And now a year later, we're standing it up. So what we're doing is together, we are getting so intentional and creating a tangible database of nonprofits that can help the military, but ones that actually help. That will call us back, that will answer our phones with all of the things from legal help. That's a big one that a lot of us need is legal help, whether that's issues with landlords or tenants or marriage or child counseling. Yes, all of that. Yeah. Yes. So that's just a few, but I would love for everyone, and Ted from the chamber may yell at me and Seth, but come to
Ted Corcoran.
Yes,
he's literally coming in here. He's my next podcast today. Did you know that?
No.
Yes, Ted's coming in. What time, Garrett? At 1? I haven't met him in person.
Oh my gosh!
So I'm excited. A lot of my counterparts here have been able to interact with Ted.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, I've heard that they like him a lot.
No, he's a great person. But I want everyone that listens to this to Google the Greater Fort Walton Beach Chamber's Military Affairs Council. January, it's on the 22nd. February, it's the 26th. For the rest of the year, it's the third Monday of every month. And just come. Check out a meeting. In February, I'm taking everybody to the Airman's Attic on Eglin. General Garrity's wife, Mrs. Nora Garrity, she's amazing, and her and Miss Susan have done so much work at the Airman's Attic, making systems and processes so that these airmen can get what they need and without the feeling of shame, so that they walk into a place where they feel proud to grab items, not just some sort of, the clothes, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just making it something where you can feel prideful, because again, that shame is real. Another way to support would be to get engaged. Go to the installations if you have DoD access and ask, how can you help? Ask, how can you volunteer? They're always looking for volunteers for different things. Their FSS, their Family Support Squadron, that what it's called? FSS. I always get it confused. But, or what's the other one? It doesn't matter. Call the base. Get engaged. There's always a need. They need diapers. They need formula. They need wipes. They need baby clothes. They need help with moving. They need there's so much. There's so much, Kimber. But again, I think the simplest way would be to follow Forever Warriors on social media and then to come to the Chamber's Military Affairs Council this year. Because not only are we going to be doing great things, but we're also bringing in other MACs, other military affairs councils, like potentially the Navarre MAC, and the Crestview MAC, again, stronger together, joining forces to be the change that our military installations so desperately need.
And from other meetings that I've been in, the way I understand that actually the military population in this area is only going to continue to grow through strategic placement of certain military initiatives that will end up in this part of the country.
Yeah.
So by default, we will continue to see an influx and growth. So understanding and helping and embracing is what community is all about.
Yeah, for sure. And be mindful, it's like there's so many things, if you're a business that offers financial services, connect with one of the chiefs groups or the first sergeants group or the 5-6 group. These groups on these installations are private, which means if you reach out to them, they can invite you on and you can talk about the services that you offer and offer them with love. And be mindful, we're not rich in America's military. We're really, really poor. And, let's be realistic. Those of us that join don't have a trust fund or a silver spoon hanging out of our mouth, So when you do offer services to military, just be mindful. Don't try to take advantage. And just, again, authenticity and love. Just move with love.
Anything fun coming up in 2024 that you'd like to highlight, and any closing thoughts? What would you, if for anybody tuning in,
Yes.
What are some things that they could pay attention to this year that would really help you out?
Yeah, so I think it would be really fun to, I'm doing a comedy show in May 4th, Saturday, May 4th. It's going to be at the Island. They're so great. I love Jackie and Brittany from the Island. They're amazing. And I'm going to bring in the GIs of comedy.
Okay.
And they're comedians that have toured all over the world with the USO. And one of my partnering nonprofits, Barracks Legend, they're out of the South Florida, Boca Raton, Miami area. And their mission is from isolation to celebration.
Okay.
So we're going to bring a comedy show here at the Island on the 4th. That's a big one. We're doing the Savage Loop run with some special operators at a 7th group here in April. And that's going to be a 42-mile ultra marathon. I'm not running it. No. But I'll be there cheering everyone on.
Sure.
And it's going to start and end at LJ Schooners here in Blue Water Bay. Okay. And he's a veteran. It's a veteran-owned business, so it's going to start and end there. That's super exciting. And the money's going to go to an organization that helps babies with terminal illnesses and our Gold Star families here locally. For those of you who don't know, Gold Star family is someone who lost someone due to military service or in military service. So that's a fun one. And then, just other events like is it May 20th or 11th? I think it's May 11th. Don't kill me, 6RTB, but they're open house.
Okay.
The Ranger Training Battalion. They have a lot going on. And there's just so much. So follow social media, Forever Warriors. We're on all platforms except for TikTok, obviously. But yeah, and I guess my final thoughts would be collaboration over competition, always.
Oh, I like that.
Always, always, always. And, as we move through 2024, just continue to move forward with purpose.
Love it.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. To learn more about Live Oak Fiber, visit liveoakfiber.com and feel the flow.